Hi guys, I'm Coach Kira and I'm here today with another relationship video. So I was posed the question of when should I get married by one of our fellow love bugs, and while I wasn't quite clear if you meant when should you get married, timely wise, or when you're emotionally ready. But nevertheless, I got you, love. We're going to cover both just for kicks and giggles, just to make sure everything is clear and understood. Yeah? All right, let's go. I thank you guys so much for joining me today. So listen, when it comes to marriage and trying to get into that state, right? You're trying to get to that point. It's an unknown. It's unknown, You don't know what it composed of or what it's going to be like. But in order to get there, you must have a solid foundation. Like, you and your special person have had to already had that discussion. You should already be in sync with what it is that you have. It should be built upon something solid, whatever that is. It may vary from relationship to relationship. If it's trust or security, whatever that is, there needs to be a great deal of strength there that's going to endure the longevity of this connection, this union. Okay? That's for and foremost. You must have that solidarity there already placed in your relationship, and you both are in belief of it, and it's built firmly, because the love that you possess is genuine, and it's going to honor that. Okay? Whatever those traits or qualities and attributes are, whatever, it'll be honored. That has to be established first. All right. Next, you want to make certain that you know your person as a whole. I mean, of course, you won't know someone ever in this lifetime 100%, because you simply don't know what one thinks. All right. And with that, we just don't know. But to the best of your ability, knowing who you are about to be with for the duration of your life. Yeah. Now, when we talk about being emotionally ready, you'll know it. You will definitely know it. But here's the thing, guys. And speaking of being able to be emotionally ready, it takes quite a lot to know that. You have to meet certain requirements of love. And many, many, many people do not. There is a great deal of qualities, traits, attributes, characteristics that one must possess in order to have a very successful marriage. See, we have this whole narrative that, marriage and relationships are hard work. They're not. Love is simple. It's simple AF, okay? The issue lies where humans with lacking of certain qualities and traits complicates it, overcomplicates it in many cases, okay? Not meeting the requirements of marriage. The list is freaking long. It's so extensive, it is equivalent to that of trying to get into the gates of heaven. You know how hard it is to not sin? Okay, so it's the same as trying to marry someone in its in the most purest and genuine form. And many people do not measure up to that. It's kind of like a lot of people shouldn't have driver's license, and some people shouldn't be parents, and so on and so forth. You get what I'm saying? So to be married, to be ready for that level of commitment, and to be able to stand before the Most High with the ultimate vow, you should have met all those requirements, and you will know it, the both of you. The synchronicity between that connection is going to be so intense and strong, there will not be any room for any doubt of any areas. Okay? So yes, so if you want to know how you're supposed to be on an emotional level or standpoint, that's it right there. Just make sure you have all those lists, that list of requirements checked off. All right, so moving on to time-wise, I wasn't sure if you was talking about, did you just jump into marriage? Some people do. Some, there's like three types of people that just jump into marriage. Those who have an ulterior motive. It could be something not bad. You just want to hurry up and marry so you can have kids or whatever. And you kind of like overlook or brush flaws that you really don't want to tolerate under the rug just for the sake of love, because people think when they're in love they're just supposed to endure everything, because that's not, well, whatever. Those types of people. And then you have the type of person who just think that they really are so in love and they really are not, and they kind of like missed what they actually needed. It was more about lust and attraction versus love, so they confuse themselves and they get lost and they get caught up and marry within weeks or whatever. And then you have the couple who marry because they have found that true person, that genuine person, their ideal mate, unbeknownst to them. They never knew or never even thought about this person existed, and this person appeared, and wow, it's blissful, it's love, it's them. They have a union, and they wed right away. But we hardly ever hear about those types of love, right? Yeah. And the reason that is, again, because humans are complicated. We have the tendency to complicate what love is really about. And when it comes to time, you just want to make certain that you're going to be ready for certain changes. See, as humans, we have the tendency to change. And you will, it's inevitable. When I get 50, I may not have this mindset I do now, or I may make a subtle change, or I may do something else completely different than what my normal character, was. So you have to be prepared for that. And if you have already encountered some sort of change in your person now, address it and see if you guys can resolve and try to handle that and get it deaded like now. Because what you can't do is have an issue with something in the beginning and not work on that or address it, and then make a major problem out of it later on. And that's why many people now are divorcing at 60 and 70 years old, because they tolerated just one thing for so long. And they could have addressed it early on. Changes are going to come about. It's inevitable, and you don't know when it's going to hit. And so while I was brainstorming this topic, it made me think about the movie War of the Roses. It's a classic 80s movie with Michael Douglas. The guy from Ant-Man and the Wasp, the old guy, him. So he and this lady, they were in college. They met at some sort of auction or whatever. They hit it off. They had sex that night. Everything was moving at fast pace, right? So they had sex that night. They dated a couple times. Boom, weeks later, they're married. All right. And now suddenly she has twins. So as time goes on, a couple years go on or whatever, they're living together. The kids are growing up. They finished college. He's an attorney now. And so one day she gets her business off the ground, and she decides to buy him a Morgan. And if you don't know what a Morgan is, it's one of those European classic type vehicles, very expensive. And so she buys him one, out of appreciation for him just being an amazing man, right? And so a beat later, he makes partner as an attorney. Now, mind you, he was the guy who was just a regular guy, dweebish, family man, loving, all of this. And once he makes partner, he changes. He morphs into character of what he thought an attorney should be. And this is a guy now who has an extensive wardrobes of suits. He's wearing his hair slicked back. I mean, I actually liked it. I didn't have a problem with it at all, because I didn't have an issue with it, because he never changed his way as a husband or to his children. He was still the same guy. It was just when he got around his colleagues, or they had, dinners or whatever, he would, put on this pompous type, with fake laugh and this presence, and she hated it. Immediately. She just did not like it. She wanted her regular, dweebish type husband back. And that was like the catalyst. That one character change was the catalyst of her becoming a stone cold bitch. I mean, serving him cold dog food. It was like, it went on for years. Now, mind you, this only lasted to about 7 years. 7 years in their marriage. I told you, everything moved at fast paced. So 7 years into their marriage, that one change impacted those years, right? So needless to say, that one change, this was a dark comedy, so it was like, it was funny, but then it wasn't, because they tormented the hell out of each other. Well, he ultimately began to match her behavior. And when the kids went off to college, they both died trying to kill each other. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so my point is that waiting is key when you're trying to marry. The longer you wait, you may pick up on certain things or certain behaviors that you just won't tolerate. She just hated that. I mean, I loved it. I didn't see, as long as it wasn't impacted their relationship, she made it quite difficult. Like, he tried to make it work, and she just was hell against it. And ultimately they both, it's a crazy movie. It's so funny, but it's sad at the same time. Yeah. But so waiting is I think is key. As the phrase go, fools rush in. But when you wait, certain things transpire, or you may catch a phrase that you don't quite understand, and it piques your curiosity. You may want to know more, and by wanting to know more, you don't dig into it, you don't delve into it right away. You wait, and then you have the answer, like, oh, okay, so that's what that meant, so I should marry this person. It allows you to prepare yourself, not only to becoming a better person, to check your flaws and work on those, and time allows you to grow a little more, to understand your person, but it also allows you to make certain that this is the type of person that you want to be with, that you want to make that ultimate vow with for the remainder of your lives. Okay? All right, so hopefully this has been somewhat helpful for you. But let me know if you have any other relationship questions or concerns. All of my information will be linked down below. But I thank you, my loves, for joining me today. That is all for now. Until next time.